Hello everyone. So I've decided to basically make a vlogging series to do with ROACCUTANE. I've basically just started ROACCUTANE today, and I know that a lot of people out there are don't know much about it, and I just want to make this for people who have struggled with acne, or are struggling with acne, who are thinking of going on it and want to know a little bit more about it. Everyone's different, everyone experiences ROACCUTANE differently, but I just wanted to make this just to sort of give people an insight as to what's going to happen. I don't even know myself how it's going to go for me, but I'm very interested to find out. So a bit of a backstory. I've been struggling with acne for the last, I'd say, 6 years. Sort of started when I was about 14, 15, obviously, just, puberty, oily skin and everything, your skin just produces excess oil and that. So that's when I sort of started getting like all your, just like your little zits, like all your little zits, pimples sort of things. And when I sort of had that for about a year, and it started getting, at the time I thought it was really bad, but looking back it really wasn't that bad. I sort of started going to the doctors and asking, like what sort of can I do about it, and that's when they said, oh well, you can go on the pill and just sort of do that. It'll level your hormones out. So don't mind, I'm just holding my camera handheld. I haven't got my tripod yet, so got to do that. And yeah, anyway, back to the story. So put me on the pill. It didn't improve my skin at all. Like, from what I could notice, it just did not improve my skin at all. And yeah, so basically after that I sort of tried things like Clindatech. I tried like doxycycline, I tried some other antibiotics for the last like few years. Nothing, some things like sort of improved my skin a little bit, but yeah, ever since, like, I've tried lots of different anti-blemish ranges that a lot of people have found really good, and it just hasn't worked. I didn't try Proactive just because I had a friend who went on Proactive, and her skin, it just dried out her skin so much, and I really just didn't want to put any harsh chemicals on my skin. I just thought, if I'm going to clear my face, I want to do it as naturally as possible. So basically, for the past year, about a year ago, my skin got really bad. I'll try and find the picture. I can't find it anywhere, but I took a picture one night when my skin was at its worst, and it, like, I look back at it and I literally, I had no self-confidence, and I just, like, even with makeup on, I just still felt like people are just staring at my acne, so yeah, I think it was just really about a year ago where I really started to go, I can't do this anymore. And I'm 20 years old. I turned 20 a couple months ago, so I was 19 at the time. I was a couple years out of school, and I just thought, this is ridiculous. Like, all my friends have perfect skin, they don't have to put up with this, they can easily go out without makeup on, and like, no one would think they didn't have makeup on because they look so damn good. And here's me, just, I had the really dull skin as well. My skin was, it was sort of like, I'll insert photos, but I sort of have my acne in these like hormonal regions, so just like around the chin area. Wasn't getting it on my forehead, but started getting it on my forehead probably about 6 months ago. My pores weren't that enlarged, but now they are quite enlarged. I don't know if you can see it, but yeah, and it was actually pretty dry sort of around here, but then all in the middle area quite oily. And yeah, there's just, my skin's just never even had any normal parts of it. It's just been super oily, or like really dry. And so yeah, and I started, you know, just this last year have just been trialing different products, and I found that when I started making sure I was drinking 2 litres of water a day, the overall quality of my skin improved. My skin didn't look as dull. It just, yeah, just looked brighter in general. The acne was still there though. It didn't really clear the acne. But yeah, and then I did have noticed that since I have been eating a little bit better as well, that's made the overall appearance of my skin better. Hasn't cleared the acne though, or made the acne any better. So I decided, well, diet's probably not going to change anything, and like it's all in the hormonal region, and yeah, just decided, well, I'm just going to look into maybe seeing a dermatologist finally to sort of get some answers. But just yesterday I did actually book an appointment, well, I actually just yesterday saw the dermatologist. I went to one in Gold Coast. I went to Dr. Portia Miller in Mermaid Beach, and she was really good. She basically looked at my skin, and my GP had like emailed her all my records and everything, and she basically said, well, you know, you've basically tried everything except for ROACCUTANE. And I was thinking, I thought you were going to say that, like, to go on ROACCUTANE. And I've been doing a lot of research recently. I know watching these sort of videos of other people's experiences really helped me to sort of, you know, go, you know, do I really want to try this or not? I think when people hear ROACCUTANE and they don't really know anything about it, they go, oh my god, that sounds so bad. And I was really scared when I first sort of started researching into it, because, you know, I'd heard okay, put it this way, the people that I know who have been on ROACCUTANE have had nothing but good things to say about it. They've always said, okay, yeah, my skin dried out a bit, did get a bit of flaking, you know, my lips cracked, sometimes, like, some people said their nose bled inside. Basically, all the people I know who've been on it have said it's worth it, have said it's great, have said, you know, they didn't experience the side effects that badly. But yeah, and then all the people I know who I've said, oh, I'm thinking of going on ROACCUTANE, who haven't been on it, have gone, that stuff is so bad for you, like, oh, you get really bad side effects and everything. And, you know, that sort of scared me a bit. But then I thought, you know what, I'm going to listen to the people who've actually been on it, who, you know, have gone through it. You know, they probably know more about it. And yeah, like, I just, even with my family history, like my mum, she had to go on ROACCUTANE twice. She had the same sort of acne as I did. She even had it into like her mid-20s, so that was the first time she went on it, and it cleared her skin right up, and yeah, all was good. And then it wasn't until, I think she had me when she was 23, she had my brother when she was 25, and that was sort of when her acne got pretty bad, and went on ROACCUTANE. It was all good. And then she got to, it would have been about 5 years after she had my youngest brother, and I think the pregnancy really just, hormones and everything, it just all came back, and so that's when she went on it the second time. And then, yeah, has not come back since, and she's in her early 40s now. I just, with my family history and everything, you know, my mum even said, you know, I had to go on it. So, and she, you know, she said herself she didn't really experience any bad side effects, so fingers crossed I don't experience them too bad. But yeah, so basically, the dermatologist said, I want to put you on ROACCUTANE for 8 months, and I wasn't expecting her to say 8 months. Like, I was expecting her to say she wanted to put me on ROACCUTANE, but I thought maybe 2 months, maybe 6 at the most, but definitely not 8. Now I'm at a point where the acne, it doesn't actually, like, it doesn't affect my confidence at all. You know, I can easily go out without makeup on and, you know, feel alright about my face and everything. The thing that's, it's more that it's just annoying it being there. Like, even at work, like, I think it was literally only a month ago, one day I was at work and I was actually thinking, my skin looks so good today. Like, I had maybe like 1 or 2 pimples, and all the rest was just like really deep, like deep set acne. And I was like, oh wow, like this is so good. Put my foundation on, thought I looked absolutely flawless, and then I was literally serving someone at the till, and he was like, oh, you wouldn't have all those spots all over your face if you didn't wear all that gunk. Excuse me? So, and that, I was so angry. Like, I wasn't even upset, I was just mad. Like, why say that to someone? Like, that's the thing. People who have never had really bad acne before, you know, they say things to people who have pretty bad acne, and they go like, oh, why don't you try doing this? Oh, why don't you try doing this to clear up your face? Like, people don't understand. And that's a really hard thing for me, is that a lot of people just don't understand where I'm coming from. And people look at my skin and they say to me, your skin's really not that bad. Like, you know, there's people who have like, you know, like cystic acne and everything, which I actually did used to have. I did used to get a bit of cystic acne. Literally here and here I had like massive cysts. So I've been through that. Luckily it hasn't sort of come back. It's really just hormonal at the moment. But yeah, people just don't get it who've never had to go through it. And I think I've like always tried to tell people, you know, you never actually know what someone's going through. And like I see comments all the time on, you know, Instagrammers and YouTubers pages who do have like bad acne, and people will comment and say, oh, why don't you spend more money fixing your face? Or like just really stupid, insensitive comments like that. Or like, oh, why don't you do something about, like, why don't you do something about it? And it's like, hey, that person, for all you know, could literally be trying something at the moment, you know, trying to get rid of it, and you're just bringing them down, you know. Like, you don't know what's going on in people's lives. And like, it just goes like, for years I've been trying things and nothing's worked. And like, people have said that to me, oh, why don't you try, like, why don't you do something about it? I'm like, what do you think I've been trying to do for the last 4 or 5 years? Like, you think I'm happy like this, you know? Just stuff like that. So just to people out there who have never had to go through this, please just think about what you're saying. And if you're like, I know that, you know, you're just trying to be nice, you're just trying to be helpful, but just deliver it in a way that that other person is gonna know that you're trying to be nice and helpful, you know? Don't do it in a way that is gonna make them feel like they're not doing anything, you know? Today is my first day on ROACCUTANE. Obviously no changes yet in my skin, but I'm actually going to wash all my makeup off now, just so I can show you guys what my skin looks like without makeup, and so you can really see how it is. And I'm going to sort of zoom in and get really close up on everything, and yeah, you guys can see it. Get ready to see some bad stuff. By the way, today I'm not wearing a foundation that says full coverage as what I usually wear. I usually wear Estee Lauder Double Wear all the time. I just find it's the only thing that is just like ticks all my boxes for a foundation. Today I'm actually wearing Tarte Rainforest of the Sea. I wanted to give it a go. I know it's more meant for dry skin, but I don't know, I've just really wanted to try it out. So yeah, as you can see, I'm quite shiny because I get a bit oily, but it actually stayed pretty well today because I don't know, it just stayed pretty well. So I think the moisturizer I used today, I used like an oil balancing one instead of, I usually use Hydra Boost, because this is the other thing, because my skin's so dry in certain areas, and like sometimes would like crack around my nose, I would use like a really intense moisturizer, when in reality I should have been using an oil balancing one. So that probably didn't help. But yeah, so now that I'm using the right sort of moisturizer for my skin type, I think it's sort of gone pretty good today. But yeah, so obviously this foundation isn't as full coverage as what I usually do. But yeah, anyway, I'm going to go wash my face now, and I'll be back in a minute and you guys can see what it's like. Hello, I am back. So just so you guys can see my skin. I know it's like a massive change from how I was on camera before, but I'm just gonna kind of go in a bit closer just so you guys can really see. And like you can see that there's a lot of like little puffy ones, but most of them are pretty deep set, just pretty deep set. And there's a lot of like blackheads. You can just tell they're really like clogged pores. Don't mind all the mascara that still hasn't come off, but yeah, and you can just, it kind of goes down my neck just a tiny bit sometimes, but nothing too bad. And then on this side, that was my, in my perspective, my right hand side, but as you can see sort of around here, sorry about the lighting as well, I kind of got like a few deeper ones. It's really just in these sort of areas, sort of get them really kind of high up here, sort of in the hairline too. This side isn't too bad on the neck. I do get a few sort of just on the shoulders and on the back of my neck, but they're not too bad. In here, just gonna focus my camera a bit. You can really see that like I've got some clogged pores on my nose, some clogged pores all in here. I'm gonna try and zoom in. There we go. You can just see that all in there, just really clogged. I have blackheads like all in here and all on my lip line as well. Like you can see, there we go. Just trying to focus my camera. You can really see that there's just like all these little dots along there, and I get like pimples along it too, because then sometimes the blackheads in there get clogged. Really just, yeah, and you can just tell that my skin, like in the pimple areas, just very red. My actual skin itself, like there's not, I used to be pretty dull sort of all around my eyes and everything, but yeah, the overall quality of my skin is pretty good. And then up on sort of the forehead area, just trying to like look at this while I'm filming. I'm doing a really weird angle right now. You can see it's pretty much just the same as is down there. Lots of blackheads, like just really clogged up basically. So that's basically what my skin looks like. And yeah, this is day one. So obviously nothing's happened yet. I only took my tablet about 3 hours ago. But at the moment, this side is a lot worse than this side. And this side's usually the bad side, so don't really know what's going on with my skin at the moment. But this is actually better than it usually is. I've actually been using a new cleanser for the past week, so I just started using the Trilogy oil balancing cleanser after a girl came into work and recommended it to me. So yeah, and it's been working pretty good. Like I've actually noticed that like my skin has actually sort of gone down a little bit. I mean, obviously it's probably not going to be very good for me while I'm sort of taking ROACCUTANE, but the dermatologist said that she's happy for me to keep sort of using that until I sort of need to switch over. She said if it's a mild cleanser, then it should be fine. And she's given me a Moisturizer Pro Para to use, which is an oil balancing moisturizer, so hopefully that'll be good. And then she's also given me like a spot clearing gel for any new spots that come up, and she's also given me like a La Roche-Posay face sunscreen, because she said my face will get very sensitive to the sun. Not just only the sun though, you also have to be careful of what am I trying to, like indoor like UV lights. Like where I work, we have UV lights inside, and I'm just, you know, under those lights constantly all day. And so she said, you know, you got to wear it to work as well. It's not just if you're going to be going outside, it's if you're going to be working under UV lighting as well. So yeah, you're susceptible to UVA and UVB, that sort of stuff. And she said to start putting Vaseline all inside my nostrils, get a cotton tip and just like put it all inside, because she said it will crack, and she said if you're not careful with it, like you could get some nosebleeds from the cracking. She said my lips will probably shrink and dry up. Not too happy about that, considering I already have pretty tiny lips, so who knows, we'll just see what happens. Like she said, I might not even get it that bad, might, you know, so we'll just have to see. But yeah, that's day 1 done. Day 3 on roaccutane. My skin's starting to break out a bit. As you can see, I'm getting a few more like pussy sort of pimples. My skin's looking a lot more textured than normal, especially all under here. You can just see all these really little pimples like that one and that ones that are coming up. And my blackheads on my nose are a lot more obvious. I'm getting pimples all in here, which never happens. All my forehead has gotten really bad. But yeah, my skin is so much drier than normal. It's like I was wearing my normal foundation today and it just looked disgusting. It looked so textured, just looked so gross. It was all just like coming off and separating and not cute. Yeah, so that's day 3 done. So day 4 of roaccutane today. I've just cleansed my face. Today is really bad. You can just see just like so many little pussy pimples everywhere. This has been the worst day. It's really all just, it's pretty much all over my face. I'll see if I can like, you can just see how bad it is. Getting a little bit dry sort of around the lips. A bit of cracking around the nose. All in, even in here I've got pimples. This one's a bit bloody at the moment. But yeah, overall my face really hurts. Like I can just feel it just hurting. Today at work, I just, like the whole day, I just want to scrub my makeup off. I just literally, I was like, I don't care what I look like, I literally just want to take all my makeup off. Like, it was really bad. Today's definitely the worst day so far, as expected. Hopefully within the next week it'll sort of get a little bit better. But yeah, I've still just been taking it every single day for the last 4 days. Dermatologist did say just to lower my, lower the dose to like once every 2 days if it does get really bad. So hopefully this is as bad as it's gonna get. If it gets any worse, I think I'll go back to just once every 2 days and sort of see how that goes. So this is day 5 of roaccutane. I think my skin is a little tiny bit better than yesterday. Yesterday was probably the worst day. It's still a bit sore. There is still new pimples coming up, but I don't know. Overall, it doesn't like feel too bad. Lots on the forehead that have like popped when I washed my face. So they're quite pussy and very sort of delicate. I used a different moisturizer last night. So the dermatologist gave me an oil balancing one, which I think it was just drying out my skin too much. And like yesterday, I just had to keep. I found a really good facial spray actually, the La Roche-Posay Thermal Spring Water face spray, and I've just literally been spraying that constantly on my face while I'm at work, and it's been making my face feel really good. I'm not really getting that urge to just want to scrub off my makeup anymore. But yes, that's a real lifesaver, that one. But yeah, in general, like my skin isn't as dry as it was yesterday, so I think that's due to, I started using the, can't remember which one it was, but I'll link it down below. It's a La Roche-Posay moisturizer, and then I have just started using the La Roche-Posay SPF 50 face sunscreen, and that's a moisturizing one as well. So I think this morning I put my moisturizer on, but then I also put on the moisturizing sunscreen, and it kind of made my face a little bit oily, but I think tomorrow I'll just try doing it just the sunscreen and see how that goes. But yeah, it's I think it looks better. This side's definitely a lot worse, and you can see I'm getting a bit of dryness all in the nose, and my lips are getting quite dry. So yes, I think I'm gonna have to find a good lip balm. I'm using Paw Paw ointment at the moment, but it's not really doing much, so sort of find something that's gonna work. So day 7 on ROACCUTANE. I did miss a few days. I've just been really busy with work and just have been way too tired when I get home to film. But my skin has significantly cleared up a bit. It's not looking as inflamed as before. My skin is nowhere near as dry as it was, and just in general it's just looking a lot better. My skin's not dull, there's a bit of brightness to it. Yeah, so far I think I'm sort of starting to see it working really good. But yeah, so that's week 1 done with. Obviously I can't really say at this point in time whether or not it's worth it or not, but yeah, it's working really quickly. Just within a week it's broken out and then sort of cleared up a bit. So yeah, I'm just really excited to see how my skin even looks in another couple of weeks. I'm, yeah, really excited.